Hey everyone, welcome into Siren Records Monterey. It's Fresh Catch Friday and new week, new stuff. So hi, if you're new here, this is where we talk about some of the new vinyl that came out this week, either as new vinyl represses or reissues. And if you're a fan of vinyl and you want to kind of keep an ear out for what's coming out or what's been repressed and reissued, I would suggest you hit that subscribe button over there. And every Friday we do this and post a list down below with all the prices, and it goes in kind of an alphabetical order sequence. So if we're running too long and you want to skip ahead to hear about the things that you want to hear about, then you can do that definitely. But if you want to stay and listen, you may find yourself intrigued by something you didn't know about or haven't had that much contact with listening to it. So anyway, let's get started. We got some good releases this week, and I'm just here to give you the information as quickly as I can so that we can keep moving. And well, predictably, but still legit, my pick for you this week is My Morning Jacket. This is MMJ2. MMJ Live Volume 2. Now, this is part of the series. This is through ATO Records. ATO, yay. They're a MMJ Live series. Now, last year they put out the 2015 concert. Again, it was like 3 albums on white vinyl. And this one is this year's. It was recorded live at the Auditorium Theater in Chicago in November of 2021. So, this is featuring a set list of like career highlights, like from the recent tracks from the last My Morning Jacket self-titled album with things like Love, 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 Complex, and Never in the Real World. And it also has past classics like Dundante is on here, and Megiddo is on here, and Phone Went West is on here. Like over 3 albums that I can sit and go on all day about what's on here. It's fabulous. And these are pressed on limited edition, translucent yellow orange kind of colored vinyl, packaged in a triple gatefold jacket and a download card. Now, like I said, they're calling it transparent orange like in online, but I'll show you my copy and you can see that it's more of this golden yellowish orange kind of a color, translucent vinyl. It looks like this, okay? So that is the color. Now, to my mind, that is more of a golden yellow than it is with orange, but I'm just letting you know what they said, like, you know, officially the release about it. So, you know, call it what you will. It comes in this gorgeous triple open jacket, and it has great live shots in here. Okay, beautiful stuff. So, the thing about it is My Morning Jacket are one of the finest live touring bands out there right now. And I'm not just saying that because it's my favorite band, but I mean, they literally, they deliver. If people weren't interested in how great their live sound is, they wouldn't be in a series of putting out live records. I mean, that's how good they are. And it's just an experience. It's magic. Oh, and here's the picture in the back. You can tell people have their masks on. It's like COVID time. Now, if this was my show, I would be right here. There's my spot. It's always Jim side, Bo side. That's me. So, but this one was Chicago. Anyway, terrific stuff. It's like, what a band, and live just like will knock your socks off. So they deliver. My second pick for you, I know I would sit here and talk about Jacket all day long if you let me. I'm also choosing Arctic Monkeys' The Car. This is on Domino, and this is their 7th studio album. They're an English rock band, Arctic Monkeys, if you don't know that. It was written by band frontman Alex Turner in his Los Angeles home. This is it's an album filled with very enigmatic songs about love, longing, and doubt. It's very heavily orchestrated, and it's pretty adventurous. Now, if you remember in 2013, they brought out AM, and that was kind of really what put Arctic Monkeys out there for a lot of people who didn't know who they were. And it was, you know, just this great stuff. And they put out in 2018, they put out Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. That was a departure, to say the least. And I think that left a lot of fans kind of unsatisfied and a bit confused with this concept album about this elaborate resort in the cosmos. You know, it had a lot of like sultry piano and synthesizers. It was like a real different thing. So here with The Car, as with its predecessor, it's more the more time you spend listening to this, the more you get into it and the more clear the themes become on this one. It's an album about love and longing, about doubt and its obscurity, and it serves to bolster the core belief that is the simplest truths are the hardest ones to discover. Now this either comes on black vinyl or what they call custard vinyl edition, and it is marked on the stickers. You can figure out which one it is. And it also comes with a download code, and it's also available for you on cassette or CD. And now here, if you're shopping locally with us, we do, while supplies last, have these tote bags for you, and it just says the car in Spanish on it, but it's like one of those nice canvas heavyweight grocery shopping bags. So yeah, come on into the store, and if you purchase your album here, we'll make sure you get one of those while the supplies are here. Okay, so now we have many things to talk about, and so we are going to blast through this, but like, don't sleep on that My Morning Jacket or that Arctic Monkeys. They're both pretty great. Okay, first up we have A Place to Bury Strangers. This is Exploding Head, and this is from on the Mute label. So following their eponymous debut in 2007, this is their most notable record. It garnered the New York noise rock outfit critical praise and a cult fan base. So led by Oliver Ackerman, the band had a simple goal for their first proper studio album, and that was to create the craziest, most fucked up record ever. So this was recorded at their Death by Audio studios in New York, and it was released on Mute. The album was very praised for its explorative sound and taking inspiration from shoegaze icons like Jesus and Mary Chain and My Bloody Valentine. Pitchfork described the album as a frustrated aggression, lacerating feedback saturated with slender indie pop melody. How's that for a description? The album has now been digitally remastered on 1LP 140 gram transparent red or 2LP transparent vinyl, and this is the deluxe one, and it also has colors. Cover art, you know, that's the difference between them. And it's housed in a numbered reverse board gatefold sleeve. Whatever reverse board means, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe just don't know. Anyway, newly designed artwork, and it has a 12-inch cover art card as well. So it's like an art print card in this one too. And it has also exclusive sleeve notes by music journalist Tris McCall. I'm not familiar with Tris McCall, but I don't think that their site would put up information like that if it didn't like mean something to someone. So there you go. All right, this is Anna Managuchi, Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. On an Abco label. This is the original score for the video game for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the Edgar Wright film by the same name, which has amassed a huge following since its release in 2010. Soundtrack is written and performed by the NYC-based chiptune punk band Anna Managuchi. It's available on translucent orange 150 gram vinyl. Okay, then we have Archers of Loaf. This is Reason in Decline. This is on Merge Records. It's the Archers of Loaf's first studio album since the 1998 release of White Trash Heroes. So it's no nostalgic, low-impact reboot. When they emerged from North Carolina's 90s indie punk scene, the Archers' hurtling sleigh, gloriously dissonant roar was mythologized. It was a touchstone of slacker-era refusal. But this new LP is entirely different. It's a different noise. In fact, it's a startling revelation. So the guitarists Eric Bachman and Eric Johnson, once headstrong smartasses, are inciting a series of artful pileups on the band's 4 studio albums and EP. They're now very fluidly complementary, sonically advanced, and they're like a unit now. The signature trebly lines, they're still there above the din, but before it was like he was struggling to be heard, but now Bachman's lyrics, they balance like kind of wrath and a complex tangle of this adult perspective all together. They're not like angry young men anymore. They still have that underlying, but with more of an adult maturity, less likely to concern himself with the like scene politics or music trends. But they're just like well, they're just grown up, okay? Let's just say it that way. This is on white, red, and purple swirl vinyl. And yeah. This is Architects. The classic symptoms of a broken spirit. This is through Epitaph. Architects have delivered their 10th studio album here. It's like an arena-ready opus entitled The Classic Symptoms of Broken Spirit. It's a follow-up to their 2021 breakout album, For Those That Wish to Exist, which hit #1 on the UK sales chart. So you find yourself with this #1 album and selling out arenas. It's enough for some people to just repeat a winning formula, but they wanted to make an album with a different aesthetic, and they were enjoying working with synths and doing stuff that they hadn't done before. So as a band who never stopped writing, they had like kernels of songs that make up this album eventually, and they were already in the process of that and doing that. So they had time to do this. They were already doing it before the ink had dried on the artwork for the last album. So, they just really just kept going all the time. They're on such a creative roll. The record was born and of that creative freedom. The result here is something altogether more free and playful and spontaneous. This one feels more live, more exciting, and more fun. And that was their main mission, to make it so that they could bring an industrial and electronic kind of vibe to complement what they'd done before. And they pretty much have achieved it here. I believe that's just on regular black vinyl. Okay, this is Envantasia, A Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society. This is through Nuclear Blast. So anyway, they say darkness descends over the hall, the curtain rises, the audience is welcome to the wondrous world of Envantasia. With its 9th album, this is A Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society. So this guy, Tobias Sammet, he invites you to join him on this enchanted journey of his own version of reality. Which is full of fantastic events and encounters. It's captivating, magical, and it's this universe that this Tobias Sammet has built over the past 2 decades. Since his debut, the metal opera in 2001, the Peter Pan of international rock and metal has romped between metal, classical, and rock, beguiling the biggest festivals around the world. And with his kind of traveling circus and working with the greatest voices in the metal world, including Alice Cooper, Scorpions, Klaus Meine, and this is on what they call Inca Gold vinyl. That sounds pretty interesting. Now, these are just 3 reissues. These are part of the Rhino Warner Brothers Rocktober series, and they're just 3 reissues of B-52s. You have Mesopotamia. This is this one. It's funny. This one says it's released on 140 gram. It's ultra clear with orange splatter. This was recorded at Blank Tape Studios in New York in September of 1981. Then they're saying that this one is the debut album. It has the stuff like Rock Lobsters on here, Planet Claire, Dance This Mess Around. If you're not familiar with B-52s, they're an American new wave band. They're from Athens, Georgia, and they came about in 1976. They were rooted in new wave and 1960s rock and roll. They later covered genres ranging from post-punk to pop rock. They have the guy versus girl kind of vocals of Fred Schneider, Kate Pearson, and Cindy Wilson that sometimes they used in that call and response style, which I really like. I love that. And anyway, that's kind of a trademark of theirs. This one is on ultra clear with red splatter, but it doesn't note that it's 140 gram like Mesopotamia. I don't know if it is or it isn't. And the same with this one, Wild Planet. And this is the second album by B-52s. This one was released in 1980. It features like Private Idaho, Give Me Back My Man, and Party Out of Bounds. This one is on ultra clear with blue splatter, and again doesn't notate whether it is 140 gram or not. So not sure. All right, this is Beak Cosmic Music 10-inch on Invada Records. So Beak performed the soundtrack to Ben Wheatley's Cosmic music here. Cosmic music, it's a melting pot of 2000 AD, Metal Hurlant, Kirby Tech, Psychedelic 60s Art, Doctor Who, Douglas Adams, Krautrock, Star Trek, and Star Wars. It's kind of a UK 70s English childhood, basically. This is Bibio, and it's on Warp Records. So virtuosic producer and multi-instrumentalist Bibio presents Bib 10, his 10th studio album with Warp Records. It's crafted from a small village in the English Midlands. The record showcases new genre blending territories. Okay, the 11 tracks capture Bibio's continued influence from Brazilian guitar and 90s French house, and then veer into deeper funk and soul stylings than he's ever released before. And that comes to us here on the Warp Records, I said, yeah. And it's on gold vinyl or numbered CD. And it's embossed in gold, the number down here. Okay. All right. This one looks, this is really cool. This is Bloodshot Bill, Songs from the Sludge. Songs from the Sludge. It's on the High Tide label. More surf, lounge, and exotic sounds from High Tide recordings. This is twangy surf and exotic raw goodness. They're on tap for Bloodshot Bill's first all-instrumental album. He's a recent winner of Rockabilly Male of the Year, a Metropolitan Award, and rated the top 8 for rockin' guitarists by Vintage Rock magazine. So Bloodshot Bill is like a giant in the rockabilly sleaze underworld. He just kind of has been, thrilling crowds the world over for 2 decades. This is a limited pressing on what they're calling sludge splatter vinyl. I'm thinking that that's some kind of muddy looking vinyl, but anyway, that's a real cool album cover and great stuff. So awesome. All right. This is John Bryan. This is Meaningless. It's on Jealous Butcher Records, one of the most distinctive recordings of the early 2000s. John Bryan, his one and only solo album, Meaningless. It's a master course in power pop inspired art rock songwriting and production. He uses psychedelic rock, classic songwriters, tape loop soundscapes, and chiming folk jangle. This record offers a vivid backdrop for Bryan's wry observations about love, reality, and the elusive quality of meaning, all plus a cheap trick cover. So more than 2 decades later, its emotional core remains undiminished by years spent in the major label ringer, both before and after its creation. Okay, like his works with artists including Amy Mann and Fiona Apple, Elliott Smith, Bryan's songs offer deep resonance and depth, and his soundtrack work on films like Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, I Heart Huckabees, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's a scope, it's a very widescreen cinematic kind of approach he has to songwriting. So this has been remastered and artist approved. It can finally be heard the way Bryan intended, and it is on baby blue vinyl. And let me see, does it tell us that? It just says first pressing colored vinyl, but it is this baby blue color. All right, this is Brutus, Unison Life. It's on Sargent House. Genre-jumping Belgian in trio Brutus. They return with their highly anticipated third album here, Unison Life, from their 2017 debut from album what was called Burst to 2019's Nest, which received overwhelmingly high acclaim and cemented them as one of rock's most visceral and promising acts. Brutus has leveled up at every turn with their unique blend of restless, emotionally raw rock and traverses the landscape of metal and punk and post-hardcore and beyond. However, it wasn't until Unison Life that the band had the time and space to really consider their direction. So Unison Life's 10 tracks represent the most concentrated and deliberate effort of Brutus's extended writing period together. It's an album of extremes. The heavy parts are even heavier, and the gentle moments are even more melodic than ever before. The result is this very thick and atmospheric and blistering illusion of boundary pushing. This band is at the top of their game. This is on orange vinyl, and this is a die cut sleeve, so it's hard to see that on camera, but all these, this is recessed, the yellow and red lines. Okay, this is pretty cool. This is Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue guitar. This is on Sun Records, and So, you know, all legends like start somewhere, right? And with his hot and blue guitar, this is where the legend of Johnny Cash began. Newly remastered in honor of Sun Records' 70th anniversary, Cash's debut album was also the first LP issued by Sam Phillips on that legendary label. The Man in Black is backed by the Tennessee 2 on classic Cash hits like Folsom Prison Blues, Cry, 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 and I Walk the Line. So this 70th anniversary edition features liner notes from rock critic and Cash biographer Robert Hilburn. All right, this is Chicago, Born for This Moment. This is through BMG Rights, and it captures the true heart of Chicago at their full creative capacity over the entire course of 14 vibrant new songs. This moment, it's also like Chicago 38, believe it or not. It encapsulates the scope and breadth of all the compositional and performance-propelled strengths that at the ready, and Chicago's seemingly endless, you know, arsenal of music. I mean, that's a lot of albums, you guys. So this is on gold vinyl. It's a double LP, and it includes this custom-etched Chicago logo on side D. I would have thought they'd still be making music. I mean, wow, that's crazy. Circles Around the Sun. This is Interludes for the Dead, and it's through Rhino Records. Now, this is reissued to honor the legend, the legacy of the founder, Neil Casal. This is on Pacific Blue vinyl. The color, it's a tribute to Casal, who loved the ocean and took the photo of the Pacific Ocean that's featured inside the album's gatefold sleeve. Interlude for the Dead began when Casal enlisted MacDougall and Dan Horn and Mark Levy to record soundscapes and grooves that were inspired by the Grateful Dead for the band's 2015 Fare Thee Well shows. Now, all of the music was written collectively during a marathon 2-day recording session with nothing prepared beforehand or added afterwards. So when the music was revealed during the breaks at the Fare Thee Well tour in intermission for when the Dead wasn't playing, you know, it was clear that this was going to be not a one-off project, but it really had a future. So the quartet agreed to continue together and returned in 2018 with their second album, Let It Wander. So then tragically, Casal passed away in August of 2019. So anyway, in the wake of this loss, the Neil Casal Music Foundation was formed and as a nonprofit organization in 2020 to honor his memory. So along with preserving his artistic legacy, they provide musical instruments and lessons to students in New Jersey and New York State schools where Neil Casal was born and raised, and as well as donating mental health organizations money that support musicians in need. As per his wishes, Circle Around the Sun has continued to record and tour. Group recently added guitarist John Lee Shannon as a permanent member, and that's like a fitting choice because he was among Neil Casal's favorite young guitar players. So that's available now. We've been talking about it for weeks. I just want to quickly show you. This is the Clutch Picture disc on Weathermaker Music, and that's available as well. This is Currency and the Alchemist Continuance on Jet Life, following what many would consider a banner year of releases for both artists. Currency and the Alchemist reunite for their third collaborative album, Continuance, with a chemistry that is unmatched in this day and age. This album sees Spitta exude, sorry, I'm tripping over my words today, I'm going fast. It sees Spitta exude effortless confidence over some of Alc's most finely crafted beats, resulting in what many would already consider a timeless piece of work. So this 13-track album features a very tight yet impressive roster of guests, including Boldy James, Babyface Rae, Styles P, Larry June, Havoc, and old partner in crime, Wiz Khalifa. While their run seems never ending at this point, it's definitely something to be celebrated. Okay, then we have The Damned. This is Damned, Damned, Damned on BMG. This is their debut studio album. This is by this English punk rock band, The Damned. It was originally released in February of 1977 by Stiff Records. It was produced by Nick Lowe, and it was the first full-length album released by a UK punk group. So that's kind of why they're sort of called the godfathers of punk, because before it was just singles, you know, everybody was just doing singles. So this one, like I said, first full-length album by a punk band back in 77. This is on limited edition yellow vinyl, and yeah, that's kind of a nice piece for your collection. This is dry cleaning. It's called Stump Work. It's on 4AD. Less than 18 months after the release of their debut album, New Long Leg, Dry Cleaning returned with their sophomore album entitled Stump Work, with over 75,000 worldwide album sales along late night TV in the US and the UK, across the best of lists like Rough Trade called it the album of the year, Pitchfork, the best new music, The Guardian, 5 stars. 2021 kind of established them as one of the biggest breakthrough indie acts in recent years. This reflected in the ambition for their new record. Their follow-up here, the London four-piece, returned to the iconic Rockfield Studios to work once again with producer John Parrish. You're not going to believe this, but there goes my computer is restarting itself. No, let me try to cancel that. There we go. Where's my stuff? I hate that. Oh God, there's always something going on with me, huh? So anyway, yes, here we go. This has very surrealist lyrics and they're ever at the forefront. But this new album, let me see. Yeah, they've got psych and prog influences that they feed off of that, and their deep musicality. They're very accomplished musicians. This Soap with the Hair writing the album title Stump Work, that's kind of made a couple of our staff members feel sick. They don't like that at all. But this is on white vinyl, and it also comes on a CD. Okay. All right, this is Nick Hakeem, Cometa. This is on ATO Records, and this was recorded between studios and domestic spaces throughout Texas, North Carolina, California, and New York. It's the third studio album by Nick Hakeem. It's a collection of romantic songs written through different lenses, guided by his own experience of falling in love that made him, in a way that made him feel like he was floating. The dizzying out-of-body sensation is the theme that anchors this masterful album. It features guest appearances from Helado Negro, Alex G, Arto Lindsay, and DJ Doll. All right, this is interesting. Jarvis, This Is Going to Hurt, on the Rough Trade label. Now, Jarvis, it's the band led by Jarvis Cocker of Pulp. They've released this soundtrack to this new BBC series called This Is Going to Hurt. So the series is based on Adam Kay's memoir, and it stars Ben Whishaw. All right. Each episode of the show features one new song with lyrics from Jarvis Cocker. And in support of the National Health Service charities, together £1 of the price of the record will benefit National Health Service charities. The series, I guess, is kind of illustrates what it's like to be MD or any kind of doctor working within the National Health Service, and how frustrating that can be. So anyway, every week you get a new song by Jarvis Cocker. Pretty great. This is Rae Jepsen, The Loneliest Time. This is on Schoolboy Records. It's the 5th studio album and her most introspective body of work to date. It expands on emotionally potent songwriting and this effervescent sound that she has showcased on past work like 2015's critically acclaimed Culture Shaping Emotion, which we have sold a ton of, by the way. In bringing her new album to life, she's worked with collaborators this time around. This arose from her having her self-tested over the past few years when COVID-19 pandemic slowed her world down completely. She had to face sacrifices she'd made, broken relationships, missed milestones, all to the hustle of show business. So, but the song on here, The Loneliest Time, also features Rufus Wainwright, which is pretty great. Now we have another Christmas album. This is, you've seen this last year, Nora Jones, I Dream of Christmas, on the Blue Note label. She has a warm voice of comfort and reassurance. For nearly 20 years, she's been putting out records since her 2002 debut, Come Away With Me. 9-time Grammy winner, This is the deluxe edition of her 2021 holiday album. It features the original album of timeless seasonal favorites and profound originals, plus an extra disc of bonus tracks and live recordings from her 2021 live stream concert from the observatory at the Empire State Building. So it's 2 LPs on black or red vinyl, and I believe that, yeah, the red vinyl has, see the red bar on the sticker, it'll tell you, and that one's the black vinyl. Okay, this, we have Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. This is, the label is PG Lang, Top Dog Entertainment, Aftermath. So to celebrate the Good Kid, Mad City 10-year anniversary, he brings you this exclusive new offerings. Listening to this album, it's like a cinematic experience. It's telling a consistent story from start to finish. It bridges the gap between young kids listening to their Wheezy and the old heads that think hip-hop died. So this is 2 LPs on 180-gram translucent milky clear vinyl, or cassette. I don't have a cassette out here to show you, but anyway, that's a nice reissue there. This one is Yousef Latif. This is Latif at Cranbrook. This is on Sewing Records. Live album by multi-instrumentalist Yousef Latif, recorded in 1958 at the Cranbrook Academy of Art and released on the Argo label. Saxophonist, flautist, oboist, and all-around reeds maestro, Yousef Latif was a renowned cross-pollinator of Eastern modes with the more traditional harmonic repertoire of American jazz. So during this course of his covetable career, he worked side by side with Dizzy Gillespie, Charles Mingus, and Miles Davis, among others. This is on limited clear vinyl. That'll tell you right here. Then we have the Libertines Up the Bracket reissue on Rough Trade. The belief, talent, and fervor that Pete Doherty spoke of in their earliest manifesto has stood with them in, all through time. They're still this way. Up the Bracket, just considered one of the greatest albums of the 90s, was originally released in 2002. The album, heady stew of indie rock, skiffle, blues, dub, and English bucolic pop. It was a huge shot in the arm to a largely redundant music scene. Kind of helped to inspire the rebirth of guitar music, going on influences of countless artists who followed in its wake. So Up the Bracket, which was produced by Mick Jones of The Clash, takes you on a wondrously poetic journey into the band's mythical world and their fevered dreams of Albion, a land of squalid glamour, liberty, equality, fraternity, gin, and chip shops. So with a limited edition bonus LP, Live at the 100 Club, 4/10/02, and I think because of it being what it is, it's probably October 4th instead of April 10th, okay, because that they do write dates different than we do here in the States. On red vinyl, this is the edition, or a 2 LP black version, or a 2 CD remastered. So here's the CD. Let's see. This one will tell you that it's red vinyl, and the regular one just doesn't have anything. It's just black on there. So see, again, there's the difference. This one tells you that it's red. Okay. Now we have Abbey Lincoln Straight Ahead on the Candid label. This is a 180-gram tip-on jacket, remastered by Bernie Grundman, of course, who remasters everybody. Straight Ahead is one of Abbey Lincoln's greatest and most important recordings. It's a testament to her creative credibility and talents. The section on this album includes saxophone giant Coleman Hawkins, the great Eric Dolphy on flute, alto, and trumpeter Booker Little, pianist Mal Waldron, and the iconic drummer Max Roach. So the LP includes extraordinary liner notes written by Nat Hentoff, who was Candid Records A&R man and house producer. Now remember that, because we have a few of these Candid Records releases. So that when we say that Hentoff himself gave the liner notes or whatever, that's who it is. It's the A&R man and house producer of Candid Records, Nat Hentoff. Anyway, he gives context and insight that adds to the experience of hearing these magnificent performances in his notes. All right, this is Lucky Day. It's called Candy Drip. This is on RCA. So David DeBrandon Brown, he is known professionally as Lucky Day. The New Orleans singer's lush, sultry soul pop goes down really easy. It's an album that mixes ingredients of funk, lo-fi, and soul to add a new flavor to modern R&B. It's a thorough and holistic musing on love, both the sensual highs and the bitter lows of fast, passionate romance. One moment, Brown is riding the highs of this deep and utter infatuation with his significant other. The resonating bass line and floating electric guitar licks on Fever, setting the stage for the emotional peak he ascends to. At the next moment, he's bitter about the cyclical toxicity of a relationship void of passion and commitment. As brooding, moody, guitar-backed instrumental on Over soundtracks the resulting spiteful relationship fallout. So he runs the gamut of emotions on this album entirely. This is on 140 gram. It's 2 LPs, and that's a different take on R&B for us these days. All right, this is interesting. This is Madonna, Erotica, the 12-inch picture disc through Warner Brothers. Now, this is celebrating 30 years of Erotica. This is the official release of the most famously canceled picture disc in vinyl record history. All right, originally scheduled for release during the fall of 1992, the picture disc features this colorized version of the famous Madonna toe-sucking photo taken from Madonna's sex book, which was released the same week as the Erotica album. However, the picture disc was canceled unexpectedly just ahead of release, and as the visual was considered too explicit for in-store display back then. Like now it's like, who cares? The manufactured copies were promptly destroyed, with only a few finding their way into the public's hands, only adding to this infamous allure of this release. So now, after a 30-year wait, Erotica picture disc is available now, and this has the album version, the instrumental, and the radio edit on here on this 12-inch, okay? So there it is. I don't know what was just so crazy about this, why it had to be banned, but I don't know. I guess things were different back then. Okay, this is Charles Mingus, East Coasting on Sewing Records. This, the composer and bass player Charles Mingus recorded East Coasting for Bethlehem in 1957. In between such classics as Tijuana Moods and Mingus in addition to featuring an early version of Celia, along with some numbers never recorded again. So East Coasting is notable for the presence of pianist Bill Evans, who briefly worked for Mingus before joining Miles Davis for the landmark Kinda Blue. This is on clear vinyl. Here's another Charles Mingus, but this one is on that Candid label. This one is called Presents Charles Mingus. It's a 180 gram tip-on jacket remastering by Bernie Grenman. The combo here, referred to by Mingus as the Jazz Workshop, had been in residence at the show place on West 4th Street in the Greenwich Village for nearly a year when they entered the studio to record what became the album Charles Mingus Presents in October of 1961. So to recreate this atmosphere, he introduces the songs if he were speaking to the audience, giving the illusion of a live album. So that kind of paid off. The LP includes extraordinary liner notes written by Hentoff himself, remember that name, giving context and insight that adds to the experience of hearing these magnificent performances. All right, this is Kylie Minogue, Impossible Princess through BMG Rights. This is the 6th studio album by the Australian singer Kylie Minogue. It was originally released in 1997 after 1994's Kylie Minogue. The album marks a further departure for Kylie from her PWL pop beginnings and reflects on more of an experimental, darker style influenced by late 1990s trip hop, Britpop, and rock and electronica. So as well as co-producing the record with Brothers in Rhythm, that's Dave Ball, and Manic Street Preachers' James Dean Bradfield, Kylie wrote the majority of the lyrics, conveying an intimacy and a freedom of expression inspired by her relationships and travels around the world. This is a limited anniversary edition, celebrates 25 years of Impossible Princess, and it's the first time the album has been officially available on LP, making it much anticipated for Kylie fans. So on the 25th anniversary, there's a special edition purple marble vinyl plus an art print or a limited opaque orange vinyl. And here's the stickers here and here. This one is the orange one, and this one is the purple swirl, but this is the one that has the 12 by 12 art print in it, okay? So The orange one is just a limited press of orange. Okay, this one, Mount Joy, Orange Blood. This is on Island. It expands the range of Mount Joy's psychedelic tinged folk, moving from reflective acoustic to stadium anthems, cross-pollinating laid-back LA sounds with Philly soul. So it is a compelling statement for Mount Joy's continued growth, and on this 10-song invitation to, as a group, they kind of stated an online lyrics page comment on the title track. They want you to tap into your subconscious and just sit still on this beautiful planet and be present. This is on limited edition bright orange vinyl, and it says it right up there on the sticker. Okay, Oliver Nelson with Eric Dolphy, Straight Ahead on Sewing Records. It's a very interesting quintet set here. It matches together Oliver Nelson on alto and tenor and Eric Dolphy tripling on alto, flute, and bass clarinet with the assistance of pianist Richard Wylens and bassist George DeVivier and drummer Roy Haynes. The two Reedmen battle it out in 6 compositions, 5 of Nelson's original plus Milt Jackson's Ralph's New Blues. Although none of Nelson's tunes, I wish this Windows update would just stop here. No, just don't. Sorry, you guys. It keeps popping up in front of my notes. It wants to restart my computer, and I don't want it to. So anyway, it certainly took a lot of courage for Oliver Nelson to share the front line with the colorful Eric Dolphy, but his own strong musical personality holds its own on this Straight Ahead date. So nice stuff there. Also, this one is on limited clear vinyl. Next up, Olivia NewtonJohn, greatest hits on Primary Wave. So Olivia NewtonJohn issued her first volume of hit singles in 1977. Greatest Hits here remastered. It features her biggest international hits from her 1971 debut through her 1976 album, Come On Over. So it contains all of Olivia's US Top 40 hits from that era, including the #1 singles, I Honestly Love You and Have You Never Been Mellow. The album was certified double platinum in the US and Canada and UK, and it has sold over 5 million copies worldwide. This is a deluxe 2 LP edition. Okay, this is interesting. This is Andy Partridge from XTC. This is called My Failed Christmas Career Volume 1, and this is through Ape House UK. Third in the series of Andy Partridge's EPs of songs originally written with other performers in mind, and the first Christmas-themed release. So, the thing was here that, he had written songs. He wanted to get into songwriting for other artists, and it sort of didn't really take off in the way that he had expected. So that's why he calls these things My Failed Writing Career. There's volume 1, 2, 3, I think there's 3 different ones, and they're all just EPs, but he had actually more success doing it on his own than trying to write songs for other people, so it's funny. Anyway, this has come along to brighten your festivities, and here he comes with this quartet of instant classics. And if the failed part of the songwriting EP series wasn't already starting to look a little bit odd after the first 2 volumes topped the vinyl charts in the UK, one of this EP's offerings was The Composer Admits, recorded by the Monkees. So presented here in its original form with lead vocals by Andy's daughter Holly. So, it's just nice background music to have while you're, cooking Christmas dinner or doing stuff like that. It's the ideal soundtrack to just play on repeat. It's songs about snow and sleighs and Yuletide and all that, delivered in this inimitable Partridge in a Pear Tree style. Andy Partridge. All right, this is Big John Patton. It's called Oh Baby. It's on the Blue Note label. Blue Note's roster in the 1960s boasted numerous Hammond B3 organ whiz kids, including the soulful Kansas City-born master Big John Patton. A dynamic quintet that he assembled for his 1965 album Oh Baby packed a punch with the B3 master, joined by Blue Mitchell on trumpet, Harold Vick on tenor saxophone, and Grant Green on guitar, Ben Dixon on drums. So Blue Note Classic Vinyl Series is all analog mastered by Kevin Gray from the original master tapes and pressed on 180-gram vinyl at Optimal. And we've talked about many Blue Note releases and reissues that have that same pedigree. So there's a reason for it, right? It's good stuff. Now we have a reissue, Queens of the Stone Age. Let me see which is the correct way to put this up. I think it goes like this. Yeah. Is that right? No. I guess it's like this. Sorry, guys. It's kind of the gatefold wraps around like to the front to the back like that, so it's hard to tell which way to put it. It's on Matador. It's just called Queens of the Stone Age. It's their debut, but it's got new artwork now. So I love Queens of the Stone Age for all its quirks. I've always enjoyed their debut album. It was released shortly after the disbandment of stoner rock kingpins Kyuss, and it was a transitional record in every sense, hence the numerous imperfections. Like, Kyuss riffs remain in all their glory, but the Queens of the Stone Age flair, it wasn't going to really arrive until a couple of years down the line. So their debut is a notably raw and natural. Josh Homme was still finding his voice, and his lack of confidence is only more obvious due to the subdued mixing of the vocals across the album. While he's always been a superb guitarist, it clearly took him time to feel comfortable with his vocal performances, and we've seen an influx of slower, steadier ballads in recent albums as a result. However, despite the songwriting on Villains being a tad stronger, it definitely doesn't have the same energy as this. Limited standard vinyl release with Frank Kozik art and original vinyl sequence. It's on black or orange vinyl. So here it will tell you if it is, okay, limited standard would be the black, and this one will tell you that it is limited orange, okay? This is Dede Ramon, I Hate Freaks Like You. It's on Maniacs Records. Second studio album by Dede Ramon, released under the name Dede Ramon ICLC. It was released in Europe in 1994 through World Service, which is a sub-label of Rough Trade. German singer Nina Hagen guests on 2 of the album's 14 tracks. All right, this is part of the RSD Essentials Lou Reed Transformer, which of course is essential for, this is his second solo album. It's an album that everyone should own without a doubt. It is essential. It's considered an influential landmark of the glam rock genre and anchored by Reed's most successful single, Walk on the Wild Side, along with Perfect Day. Satellite of Love is also on here. It's produced by David Bowie and Mick Ronson. The album was released in November of 1972 by RCA. This is the 50th anniversary, and it's on white vinyl, and it says it right there. Okay, this is Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers. It's called Modern Lovers Live. This is through Omnivore Recordings, recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. Live features Jonathan and the Modern Lovers performing classics from their first 2 releases to an enthusiastic British crowd. This is Max Roach. We insist. Max Roach's Freedom Now Sweet. And this is on that Candid label. 180-gram tip-on jacket remastered by Bernie Grundman. Roach vowed after the release of this that he would never again play music that is not socially relevant. And he told Downbeat magazine, "We American jazz musicians of African descent have proved beyond all doubt that we are master musicians of our instruments. Now that all what we have to do is employ our skill to tell the dramatic story of our people and what we've gone through." The album inspired Roach to broaden his scope as a composer and collaborate with choreographers, filmmakers, and playwrights. The LP includes extraordinary liner notes written by Hentoff himself, giving the context and insight that adds to the experience of hearing these magnificent performances. All right, this is Rubblebucket, Earth Worship. This is on Grand Jury. So this Kalmia Traver and Alex Toth, they're the group's front persons and co-writers. And they first began a friendship as jazz students at the University of Vermont. Traver suggested Earth Worship as a lyrical prompt for their 6th album. With this concept at its core, they began writing Earth Worship, this Rubblebucket with a renewed shimmer, showcasing their intricately sparkling beats and hushed yet hooky vocals and infectious melody and complexity. It's limited edition, indie exclusive on pink swirl vinyl or cassette. All right, this one is Sad Lovers and Giants, and this is, it's called Epic Garden Music. This label is on Radiation Roots, and they formed and then this, they're in Watford, northwest of London in 1980. They're a quintet. Then they were part of the burgeoning post-punk scene, with like barely perceptible undercurrent of like kind of paisley psychedelia going on, but their band's jangling guitars and eerie keyboards and subdued beats, very brooding vocals. They put them somewhere in there with the Chameleons and Echo and the Bunnymen and early Cure. This was their debut release on Midnight Music, and this expanded edition comes with 5 bonus tracks taken from their first 3 singles. And it's a must for collectors, and it is on limited white vinyl. Okay, this is Cedar, and I think this is Latin, and I'm going to butcher it. It's Si Vis Pacem Parabellum, all right? This is on the Fantasy label, and it's produced by Sean Morgan and engineered and mixed by Matt Hyde, who does Deftones and AFI. And their album, Si Vis Pacem Parabellum, which translate into If You Want Peace, Prepare for War. It was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee over 2 months in December of 2019 and January of 2020. The deluxe edition of the album that spawned 3 #1 hit singles at Active Rock Radio has been expanding into include all 21 songs, 5 of which were previously unreleased, recorded during the SVPPB session, along with the alternate versions of Wasteland. This is on what they're calling Ghost Marble vinyl. I'm imagining that's kind of a clear and white sort of swirly effect. I'm not sure, but 3 LPs. The 6th side is an etching, all right? So that's deluxe. It's kind of a thicker one. 3 LPs. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about this, you guys. This is Simple Minds, Direction of the Heart. BMG writes, Direction, it's their 18th studio album by this Scottish rock band, Simple Minds. It finds the band at their most confident and anthemic best, and it is inspired celebration of life. It's still, they still think really big. Everything they do is so overblown and stadium sized, you know. Even in the past, it should have taught them that bigger wasn't always better, but that's just who they are. So I don't know. They've been knocking around for a long time, and I just tend to think that their best years are behind them. But, you know, I'm sure that they still have a lot of fans. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're growing with the times. Let's say that. This is on heavyweight black vinyl or transparent orange vinyl, and that is indicated on the stickers here. It's, yeah, they look the same, but one says black and one, says orange. Okay. All right, this is Sloan. It's called Steady. This is on Yup Rock Records. This is 30 years into their career. Canadian indie rock perennials Sloan, they return with their 13th album, Steady, featuring the band's trademark harmonies and every band member taking a lead vocal duties for at least a couple of tracks. There's no better musical commonwealth than this quartet. You'll hear everything from power pop rockers to the moving, stripped-back, introspective numbers to psychedelic, trippy stuff. It's hard to think of another band that has stayed as consistent for 3 decades musically and still has the same band members for their entire career. 13 albums later, Slow and Steady wins the race. First edition, Deep Purple vinyl, there for us. Okay, we are hitting a late mark. So this is Snap, Madman's Return, BMG writes, 1992 German act Snap. They released their internationally awarded album, Madman's Return. This has been originally produced for the movie of Rocky V, the 30th anniversary release, remastered double vinyl, 180 gram, 1 orange LP, 1 yellow transparent vinyl. This is Otis Spann. The blues it's on the Candid label, that 180 gram tip-on jacket. Let's see, Otis Spann, largely recognized as one of the greatest blues pianists of all time. First making a name for himself in Chicago during the 1940s, his career kept him active during the untimely death in 1970. Along with Muddy Waters, he worked with such luminaries as Howlin' Wolf, Bo Diddley, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, James Cotton, Buddy Guy, and Big Mama Thornton. Includes extraordinary liner notes, that same stuff. This is Still Corners, Dead Blue, Wrecking Light Records. Third studio album, London-based dream pop band Still Corners, originally released in 2016. Chronicles the arrival of a young woman to a new city and explores love, loss, and deceit, etc. New Tegan and Sarah, Crybaby, and this is on Mom and Pop. This one is the 10th studio album, was recorded in fall of 2021 in Seattle and Los Angeles. Produced by John Congleton, who does Angel Olsen and Sharon Van Etten. It's a return to form while also being something very entirely new. It's on Neapolitan colored vinyl and a gatefold jacket and a poster. Wish we could talk about that more. Gotta move it. Various artists, Blue Note Imagined 2, legendary label Blue Note Records and Decca came up and they team up to release the second volume of this acclaimed collection of Blue Note Reimagined, which features the most exciting young talents of the UK scene, reworking classic Blue Note tracks by Donald Byrd, Grant Green, Wayne Shorter, Thelonious Monk, etc., all on 180 gram 2 LPs in a gatefold jacket. Then we have Colter Wall, Western Swing and Waltzes, and other punchy songs on Black Hole Music, exclusive pink vinyl version made to 1,000 units. Let's see, it's heralded by icon Steve Earle and touted by favorites celebrity like Jason Momoa. The music of Colter Walls has graced the silver screen many times in films such as Peanut Butter Falcon, Hell or High Water, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Mo, and Deadwood. Music of Colter Wall had graced the silver, it's a very distinct, gritty baritone in his voice. His career has been marked with critical praise from his breakout EP, Imaginary Appalachia, and his debut and sophomore records produced by Dave Cobb. Whether headlining music festivals in Norway or playing legendary stages like Newport Folk Festival, he continues to garner attention from the world. On his third full-length release, fans will hear Colter Wall also producing. Okay, you guys, gosh, we're really going over time today. Thank you for being here. I hope you found something that you love, and I will see you next time.